If you have broken one heart once, the prayers you perform are not prayers. Even 72 nations cannot wash your hands and face clean. But if you have made one heart whole, if you have held the robe of a saint, if you have done one act of goodness, even 1 in 1,000 is not too little. The true path is the one that leads straight. The true eye is the one that sees the truth. The true man is the one who stands low, not the one who looks down from above. If the gaze of a saint falls upon you, may your inside and outside be filled with light. Blessed and free shall that person be, who is not a slanderer. If you have walked the straight path, if you have held the robe of a saint, if you have offered one prayer of goodness, even 1 among 1,000 is not too little. Yunus Emre weaves these words like honey into oil, sells his wares among the people, yet his load is gems, not salt. Yunus Emre said this not as a poet playing with words, but as a lover of God speaking from fire. He did not mean the heart of flesh, the one that beats in your chest. He meant the mirror of the soul, that quiet, fragile place where the divine breath rests. Listen closely. To break such a heart is to turn away from the beloved himself, because every heart you meet is a house where God could be worshipped. There's a saying among the lovers, the Kaaba was built by Abraham, but the heart was built by God. And if you destroy a house built by God, what prayer could rebuild it? Now pause here, friend. Take a deep breath. Who was the last person whose heart you might have hurt, even unintentionally? Did you walk away quickly? Did you justify it, saying, they'll understand? Maybe you didn't even notice. But the heart feels what the tongue hides. And Yunus is reminding us that no ritual, no external act, no performance of holiness can cleanse what love has wounded. I once met an old dervish who said, each heart you wound becomes a shadow that follows you into prayer. I asked him, how can I pray with a shadow? He smiled and replied, by turning your prayer into light. I didn't understand then, but now when I stand to pray, I sometimes feel those shadows whisper. And instead of pushing them away, I bring them into the prayer. I say, O beloved, heal what I have broken.
This is the path of the lovers, not the path of perfection, but of repentance turned into beauty. Not the path of pride, but of tenderness that trembles. Do you see, friend, how simple Yunus makes it sound, yet how terrifyingly honest it is? Because he is not judging, he is unveiling. He is telling you that every prayer is weighed by the love that carries it. A heartless prayer is only an echo, but a heart full of love can turn even silence into worship. And then he says, but if you have made one heart whole, if you have held the robe of a saint, if you have done one act of goodness, even 1 in 1,000 is not too little. What a mercy this is. It's as if he turns the mirror around, showing the other side of the wound. Do you feel that? The breath of hope. Yunus never leaves you in despair. He says, mend one heart, just one, and all heavens will open for you. Hold the robe of one saint, that is, follow in the footsteps of one whose ego has died, and you will taste eternity. Do one act of kindness, even if the world never sees it, and it will echo in the unseen realms. Think about this for a moment. We live in a time when people measure goodness by visibility
by likes, by shares, by applause. But the Sufi way teaches something else, that the smallest unseen act can outweigh 1,000 visible ones. In the Mesnevi, Rumi tells a story. A man once gave water to a thirsty dog in the desert, and God forgave him all his sins for that one act. Why? Because in that moment, his heart remembered love. It was no longer about religion or fear or reward, only mercy moved him. That single gesture was enough to realign his soul with the divine. So when Yunus says, even 1 in 1,000 is not too little, he is whispering the secret of transformation. You are never too far gone to begin again. One sincere act can undo years of forgetfulness. One tear of remorse can wash away lifetimes of dust. And yet, there is a subtle truth here. He says, if you have held the robe of a saint. In Sufi tradition, to hold the robe, to eteken tutmak, means to attach yourself to guidance. It means humility, the willingness to learn, to serve, to walk behind rather than ahead. It's not about blind obedience. It's about walking with reverence, knowing that wisdom flows from those who have dissolved their own selves. There's a story that in the time of Yunus, he once went to Yunus Emre's lodge carrying wood, but every day he would measure the wood to make sure none of it was crooked. He said, I do not want to bring anything twisted into the home of the straight. Can you feel the beauty of that? To live in such awareness that even your smallest action becomes prayer. Now take another breath, friend. Ask yourself quietly, what am I carrying into the presence of the straight ones? Am I still holding something crooked inside? A resentment, a pride, a hidden grudge? Do I carry it like firewood, or have I laid it down? Pause for a moment. Let this question settle in your heart. Yunus continues, the true path is the one that leads straight. The true I is the one that sees the truth. The true man is the one who stands low, not the one who looks down from above. This is where the poem shifts from action to vision. He's no longer talking only about what you do, but how you see. Because the Sufi path is not just about deeds, it's about perception. How you see determines what you become. He says, the true I is the one that sees the truth. And truth, Haq, is one of the names of God. So to truly see means to see God in all things, to see beyond the surfaces, to look at the poor man and see the friend, to look at your enemy and still sense the hidden light in him. There's a story in the Mesnevi, Book 2, where a man insults another. The insulted one smiles and says, you have only seen my outer cloak. If you saw my inner robe, you would fall in love. That's the seeing Yunus speaks of. An eye purified of ego sees only beauty. But what does he mean by the true man is the one who stands low? In the world, we are taught to rise, to compete, to be seen. But in the way, you rise by lowering yourself. Humility is the throne of the saints. When you bow low enough, the dust itself becomes your teacher. The same dust that covers graves also grows roses. Once, someone asked Bayezid Bastami, what is humility? He said, it is to be like the earth that everyone walks upon, and yet it complains not. Yunus was made from that earth. Do you see how every verse of his is an instruction for the soul?
To walk straight, that is to align your intention. To see truly, that is to remove the veils. To stand low, that is to dissolve your ego. And if you do these, he says, the gaze of a saint will fall upon you. Ah, friend, when the gaze of the purified touches you, everything changes. Because saints do not look with eyes, they look with hearts. Their gaze is like sunlight falling on frozen ground. It melts what was hardened. But even here, Yunus warns, may your inside and outside be filled with light. Blessed and free is the one who is not a slanderer. It's as if he's saying, do not seek light while your tongue spreads darkness. The same mouth that recites zikr cannot be the same that wounds others. Sometimes in our age, we see people speak of love but live in bitterness. We quote saints but do not live their mercy. We praise God but slander His creation. This is the great paradox of our time, religion without tenderness. So Yunus brings us back to simplicity. If you want to be free, speak no harm. Be like a clear river that cleanses whatever touches it. When he says the true path is the straight one, he also means do not twist your words. Do not hide behind spirituality while nursing resentment. Be transparent. Be soft. Be honest with yourself. Now, I want you to do something. Close your eyes for a few seconds. Take a slow breath and ask your heart, have I ever broken a heart and not noticed? Listen. Don't think. Listen. If a face comes to mind, that's not guilt. That's guidance. Whisper a prayer for them now. Say, "O beloved, heal them through me or despite me."
That is enough. Because in that single moment of remembrance, you have already begun the mending. Yunus says, if you have walked the straight path, held the robe of a saint, and done one act of goodness, even one among 1,000 is not too little. Notice how he repeats it? Repetition in Sufi poetry is never mere repetition. It is remembrance. It's like zikr. Every time the phrase returns, it polishes the mirror again. So he repeats it, so you may remember. The smallest act done with sincerity weighs more than grand gestures done for show. In this world, we are surrounded by noise. Religious noise, political noise, emotional noise. But the mystic walks silently because he knows truth needs no defense. He doesn't announce his goodness, he becomes it. That's why Yunus says, at the end, Yunus weaves these words like honey into oil. Do you taste that image? Honey and oil, sweetness and light. That's what his words are made of. He says he sells his wares among the people, yet his load is gems, not salt. Meaning, he walks among ordinary people, but his heart carries the treasures of the unseen. He speaks simply, but every word is gold. So, friend, this poem is not an ornament of Turkish literature. It is a map for the soul. Each line is a door. Each door leads you inward. And at the center, you find a mirror. If you look long enough, you'll see the face of the one who loved you before you were born. But tell me, how will you look into that mirror if you keep shattering the reflections of others? That is what Yunus means. Every heart you hurt becomes a crack in your own mirror. And every heart you heal becomes a light that returns to you.
When you heal one heart, you are not just helping another person. You are restoring your own capacity to love. You are mending your connection with the Source. You are polishing the mirror of the world. This is why Yunus's words have never grown old, because the heart's language never changes. The body changes, civilizations rise and fall, but love is eternal. And the rule of love is simple. Whatever you give returns multiplied. Now, imagine this. You are walking in the desert at night. The stars are like scattered prayers. You carry a lamp, but the oil in it is low. You meet someone, a stranger, and you share your last drop of oil so their lamp won't die. You continue your journey in the dark, and just as you begin to lose your way, the horizon lights up with dawn. That is the mystery of giving. That is the secret Yunus knew.
He didn't speak from philosophy. He spoke from experience, from nights of crying, from years of sweeping the floor of his teacher's lodge, from the silence that grows in the heart after you stop trying to prove anything. You see, Yunus was once an ordinary farmer. But when famine came, he sought wheat from a saint. The saint offered him blessings instead. Yunus said, "I came for wheat, not for words." And he left. But on his way home, regret struck him like lightning. He turned back, yet by then, the door of that saint's house was closed. So he wandered, years, decades, lifetimes, until his heart itself became that door. That is how saints are made, not through privilege, but through breaking and mending, again and again, until nothing remains but love. So when he says, if you have broken one heart once, he is not condemning you, he is inviting you to awaken to the sacredness of love itself, to understand that every act of compassion, every gentle word, every forgiveness is a form of prayer. Now, friend, before we go further, pause again. Place your hand on your heart. Feel its rhythm. Each beat says, who? Each pulse says, he. The remembrance of God is already happening inside you, even when your mind forgets. Your heart remembers, and that remembrance is your real prayer. Now that you are here, hand upon your chest, let us listen together. Listen not with the ear, but with the heart. Because the ear only hears sounds, but the heart hears meaning. Do you notice how silence has a sound of its own? How sometimes it speaks louder than words? That is where Yunus wanted you to dwell, in that sacred silence where God whispers, I am near. He said, the true I is the one that sees the truth. And maybe now you understand that he was not talking about sight, but about insight. Not about the eye that looks outward, but the one that gazes inward. The eye of the heart, polished by love. When the heart begins to see, the whole world becomes a book. Every leaf a verse, every breeze a messenger, every tear a teacher. Even pain becomes a verse
of revelation. And perhaps you have felt this too, when the person who hurt you the most became the mirror that taught you patience, when the failure that broke you became the soil of humility, when the darkness you feared became the night in which you met the moon. That is how the Beloved works. He teaches through opposites. He hides himself in the very thing you want to avoid. The pain you run from is the doorway. So the Sufi doesn't escape pain. He sits with it. He listens to it. He says, "What are you here to teach me?" Maybe you too are carrying a heart that has been broken by love, by loss, by betrayal, and maybe you ask, how can I make others whole when I am not whole myself? Ah, friend, that's the mystery. It is through your own brokenness that light enters, through your wound that compassion flows, through your weakness that you learn tenderness.
Rumi said, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." And Yunus lived that truth. He did not speak of hearts as ideas. He lived among the people, farmers, beggars, workers, and saw that each one carried a spark of the divine. That is why he said, "He sells his wares among the people, yet his load is gems, not salt." He was teaching that spirituality is not in withdrawing from the world, but in finding God within it. Think about it. When you walk through the marketplace or scroll through the endless noise of life, can you still see the Beloved's face hidden in every soul? Can you still serve without expecting return? Can you still speak without wounding? That is the real test. In the lodge, prayer is easy. But in the crowd, that is where the path is proved. There's a tale from the Mesnevi, Book 4. A man came to his master and said, "I love God." The master smiled and said, "Go then, love his creation." Because love of God without love of his creatures is only imagination. It's like a flame that never leaves the candle. Real love spreads its warmth outward. And that's what Yunus is calling us to do, to make love real, embodied, lived, to walk gently on the earth, to speak kindly, to forgive before being asked, to see through the veil of differences. He says, even 72 nations cannot wash you clean. He means no ritual, no identity, no belonging will purify you unless your heart is at peace with every form of humanity. 72 nations, 72 faces of the same spirit. When you see that, your prayer becomes universal. Your love becomes vast. Once, someone asked a dervish, "Which religion do you follow?" He said, "I follow the religion of love. Wherever love goes, I go." That is Yunus too. He was not rejecting religion, he was perfecting it. He was saying, the form is the shell, love is the core. The prayer without compassion is an empty cup. Now, friend, let us pause again. Take a slow, conscious breath. Ask yourself, whose heart could I mend today? Whose pain could I ease, even a little? Maybe it's not someone far away. Maybe it's someone near, your child, your friend, your own forgotten self. Maybe you could forgive the one who never said sorry. Maybe you could say sorry even if they don't deserve it. Maybe that act, small, unseen, could change everything.
Because when you heal one heart, you are rebuilding the Kaaba of love within you. And God looks not at buildings of stone, but at the shrines built of mercy.
There's a saying attributed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. God does not look at your forms or your wealth, but at your hearts and your deeds. Yunus took this truth and sang it into every village, every field, every soul that would listen. He made the faith of scholars into the song of lovers. He turned theology into poetry. He translated divine love into human kindness. And that's why, centuries later, his words still move hearts. Because he did not speak from intellect, but from surrender. He didn't write for fame. He wrote because his heart was overflowing. He says, "Er odor alçaktadura," the true man is the one who stands low. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. It is to live in awareness that everything you have is borrowed. Your breath, your beauty, your moments, all belong to Him. And when you realize that, arrogance melts. Then every person you meet becomes your teacher. The poor man teaches gratitude. The angry man teaches patience. The unjust man teaches forgiveness. Even the one who slanders you teaches silence. That's how the saints walk. They see every soul as a messenger from God. They say, "Nothing happens to me. Everything happens for me." So if you are hurt today, remember this hurt is your teacher. If someone broke your heart, remember through that crack the beloved's light is entering. If you are lonely, remember the one who is closer than your vein is waiting for you in that silence. Do you see the transformation now? At the beginning you were asking, "Have I broken hearts?" But now your heart whispers, "How can I heal them?" This is the shift, from guilt to grace, from shame to service, from self to soul. That is what Yunus wanted, not to burden you with moral fear, but to awaken you to divine tenderness. He knew that when the heart awakens, goodness becomes effortless. The hand gives, the tongue blesses, the eyes weep, and the soul becomes soft again. In Sufism, there's a term, tasfiya al-qalb, the purification of the heart. It doesn't happen by force, it happens by remembrance. Every time you forgive, you polish the heart. Every time you thank, you polish the heart. Every time you choose mercy over anger, the mirror shines a little brighter. And then one day, you look into that mirror and see nothing but light. That is when prayer and life become one. You no longer perform worship, you are worship. Your breath becomes dhikr, your silence becomes prostration, your eyes become rivers flowing toward God.
That is the freedom Yunus spoke of when he said, "May your inside and outside be filled with light." Because when the inside shines, the outside follows. When the heart is clean, the face glows. When love overflows, even your shadow blesses the ground. Friend, let me tell you something personal. There was a time when I thought love was about feeling. When I felt warmth, I thought God was near. When I felt emptiness, I thought I was lost. But over the years, I've learned something different. Love is not always warmth. Sometimes love is silence. Sometimes love is the discipline that keeps you steady when no light shines. Sometimes love is staying when your ego wants to run. That is the kind of love Yunus lived. Not the romantic love of emotions, but the steadfast love of service. The love that keeps sweeping the floor, fetching the water, forgiving the wound. The love that says, even if no one sees me, He sees. So, if you're walking through a dry season right now, don't despair. Even the desert blooms when rain comes, and rain always comes. Keep your soil soft. Keep your heart open. Because when the gaze of mercy falls upon you, you must be ready to receive. And when that moment comes, and it will come, you'll realize that everything was preparation. Every wound, every longing, every silence. All of it was guiding you back to simplicity, to love, to truth, to humility. This is the real awakening, not a flash of light in the sky, but the quiet dawning inside. When you stop seeking miracles and start living them. When you stop searching for the divine outside because you feel Him breathing through you. Then every prayer becomes gratitude. Every encounter becomes a chance to serve. Every breath becomes a remembrance. So, dear friend, here is your heart practice for tonight. Sit somewhere quiet, close your eyes, place your hand again on your heart. Whisper, "O beloved, make me a mender of hearts." And then remember one person, just one, whose heart you might heal tomorrow. Decide one act of kindness, even if small. That will be your real prayer. If you do this, you will walk the path Yunus walked. You will become the kind of soul whose presence comforts others, even in silence. You will become a heart through which others remember God. Because as He said, the true path is the one that leads straight. And the straight path is love. Not love as emotion, but love as being. Love that bends without breaking. Love that bows but never falls. Love that forgives again and again until nothing remains but light. And when that light fills you, others will feel it too. They may not understand it, but they will recognize it, because hearts know each other beyond words. As Yunus said, hearts that know each other greet each other from afar. So if this message has reached you tonight, maybe it's because your heart already knew mine. Maybe this is how the Beloved arranges meetings, not through chance, but through longing. If this journey touched something inside you, if you felt a quiet peace stirring, leave a sign for the others walking this same path. Write in the comments, "The journey of love continues," or simply leave a heart. Because hearts recognize hearts. And if these words felt like home, subscribe, not just to this channel, but to the remembrance that is already happening inside you. Because you are not alone in this path. None of us are. We walk each other home. So walk gently, friend. Mend softly. And when you speak, let your words be light. Because somewhere, someone's soul is listening. And maybe through you, they too will remember that breaking hearts is easy, but healing them is divine.